Imagine this. You're working on something big, something that could change your life. But before you even take the first step, you tell the world about it, your friends, your family, even strangers on social media. And suddenly doubts creep in, opinions flood your mind, and distractions pull you away. Now that fire inside you, it starts to flicker. Why does this happen? Because when you talk too much about your plans, you give others the power to shape your path. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, you keep that power where it belongs, with you. Today, I want to share something that can transform the way you move through life. A mindset that brings results, peace, and real success. The art of working in silence, of staying focused, of letting your actions rather than your words do the talking. Because the truth is, not everyone needs to know what you're building. Not everyone wants to see you win, and sometimes the loudest person in the room isn't the strongest, the quietest one is. So, if you're ready to shift your mindset to truly level up without distractions, then listen closely, because this message is for you. Let me tell you something. There is no greater investment in this world than the one you make in yourself. You see, most people spend their lives looking outward. They focus on what others are doing, what others have, what others think of them. But the moment you shift that focus inward, everything changes. Because the truth is, the only person standing between you and the life you want is you. Now, I know how easy it is to get caught up in distractions. We live in a world where everyone is watching, everyone is talking, and everyone is trying to prove something. Social media has made it even worse. People post every little detail of their lives, craving approval, waiting for likes, hoping for validation. But let me ask you, what does that really do for you? What does it change? Nothing. Because success, real success, doesn't come from being seen. It comes from becoming. And you don't become something great by seeking attention. You become something great by doing the work in silence where no one is watching. Focusing on yourself means prioritizing growth. It means waking up every day and asking, what can I do today to be better than I was yesterday? Not for applause, not for recognition, but for you. It means feeding your mind with knowledge, strengthening your body, sharpening your skills, and mastering your emotions. It means setting goals, not just dreams that sound good, but actual, measurable steps toward the future you want. And it means being disciplined enough to follow through, even when no one is clapping for you. The greatest mistake you can make is waiting for someone else to push you forward. Some people will cheer for you, some will doubt you, and some won't care at all, but none of that matters. Because at the end of the day, no one is responsible for your success except you. And if you spend your time looking left and right, worried about what everyone else is doing, you'll never move forward. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but what about support? What about encouragement? Don't we all need that? And yes, having people in your corner is a blessing, but hear me when I say this. If you rely on that, if you need someone else's approval to keep going, then you are handing over control of your life. Because the moment that support fades, the moment people stop clapping, you'll stop moving. And that's the difference between those who succeed and those who don't. The ones who win, the ones who truly make something of themselves, are the ones who keep going even when no one is watching, even when no one believes in them, even when they are standing alone. Focusing on yourself also means protecting your energy. It means being mindful of what you allow into your mind, your heart, and your spirit. Not every conversation is worth your time. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Because the more time you spend worrying about things that don't serve you, the less time you have for the things that do. And if you're constantly pouring your energy into gossip, negativity, or comparison, you are draining yourself of the very power you need to succeed. One of the most powerful things you can do in this life is learn to walk away from what doesn't serve you. That means walking away from toxic people, from bad habits, from environments that keep you small. It means recognizing when something is holding you back and having the courage to step into something greater. And that's not easy. Growth isn't easy. It requires sacrifice. It requires discipline. It requires moments of discomfort where you feel alone, where you feel like no one understands the path you're on, but that's the price of becoming the person you were meant to be. You have to learn to trust the process. See, the world has convinced us that everything should happen fast. We want success overnight, results immediately, rewards without effort, but anything worth having takes time. Growth takes time. Mastery takes time. You have to be willing to work in the dark before you can shine in the light. And if you aren't willing to go through that process, if you aren't willing to stay the course, even when it feels slow, then you'll never reach your full potential. Let me tell you something. There will be times when you feel like nothing is happening, like you're putting in all this work and seeing no results. But I promise you, every step you take, every small effort, every moment of discipline is building something within you. Just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean it's not working. Just because no one is noticing doesn't mean you aren't growing. And that's why you have to stay focused. Because one day, all those quiet hours, all that unseen effort, all those moments of discipline will add up, and when they do, people will look at you and call you lucky. They'll say, how did they do it? But you will know that it wasn't luck, it was focus. It was sacrifice. It was choosing every single day to invest in yourself even when no one was watching. So I ask you today, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to turn down the noise, shut out the distractions, and truly focus on your own journey? Are you willing to stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand your vision? Are you willing to stop seeking validation and start seeking mastery? Because if you are, then I promise you there is nothing you cannot achieve. Your future is not in the hands of anyone else. It's not in the opinions of others. It's not in the approval of the crowd. It's in you. And the moment you realize that, the moment you take full responsibility for your growth, your success, and your destiny, that is the moment everything changes. Silence. It's one of the most powerful tools you have, yet so many people overlook it. We live in a world that glorifies noise, constant talking, constant sharing, constant proving. But what if I told you that true strength isn't in how much you say, but in how much you don't? That real power is found not in loud words, but in quiet actions. That the most successful, most disciplined, most focused people don't waste their energy trying to be heard. They let their results speak for them. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who talks endlessly about their plans, their goals, what they're going to do, and yet years go by and nothing changes? They talk a big game, but there's no action behind it. Because talking is easy. Announcing your next move is easy, but real work, real discipline, that happens in silence. The problem is, we have been conditioned to believe that we need to announce everything. The moment we have an idea, we want to tell the world. The moment we start working on something, we want recognition. And the moment we succeed, we want everyone to see it. But here's the truth. When you talk too much about what you're doing, you give people the chance to plant doubt in your mind. You invite unnecessary opinions, distraction, and even envy. You allow negativity to seep into something that should be protected. Because not everyone wants to see you win. Not everyone will understand your vision. And the more you speak, the more you risk losing focus. Silence is your advantage. When you move in silence, you are unpredictable. No one knows your next step. No one has the opportunity to discourage you before you even begin. No one can interfere with something they don't know about. And that alone gives you power. Have you ever noticed that the loudest people are often the weakest? The ones who constantly brag, constantly show off, constantly seek attention, they are usually the most insecure. Because people who are truly confident, people who are truly strong, don't feel the need to prove anything. They don't need to be seen. They don't need validation. They are too busy working, too busy improving, too busy winning in silence. Some of the greatest moments of success happen when no one is watching, when you wake up early to put in extra hours, when you're studying late at night while everyone else is asleep, when you're pushing yourself in ways that no one will ever see. That's where real progress is made. That's where champions are built. And that's why silence is so powerful, because it keeps you focused on what truly matters, the work, not the recognition. And let's be honest, talking about your plans can sometimes trick your brain into thinking you've already accomplished something. You get that little rush of excitement when you tell someone your goals, almost as if you've already achieved them. And that feeling, it can be dangerous, because instead of using that energy to actually do the work, you waste it on words. You give yourself the illusion of progress without actually moving forward. Now, I'm not saying you should never share anything with anyone, but you have to be selective. Not everyone deserves access to your dreams. Not everyone is meant to know what you're working on. You have to protect your vision like it's the most valuable thing in the world, because it is. When you keep your goals to yourself, you keep them pure. You allow them to grow without interference. You allow them to develop in the safety of your own discipline and focus. And when the time is right, when the work is done, that's when you let the world see. Not because you told them, but because your results made it undeniable. You see, when you're silent, people will underestimate you. They will think you aren't doing much. They will assume you have nothing going on. And then one day they will look up and see you winning. They will see the results of your quiet work, and they won't know how you did it. And that's the best part, because while they were busy talking, you were busy building. While they were seeking attention, you were seeking mastery. And while they were making noise, you were making progress. There is a peace that comes with silence, a clarity that noise cannot provide. When you stop explaining yourself, stop trying to impress, stop worrying about what others think, you free yourself. You free yourself from expectation, from pressure, from unnecessary distraction. You become laser focused on your journey, and nothing can shake you. That's the power of staying silent. That's the power of keeping your energy directed toward what actually matters. Some people won't understand this. They will think silence means weakness. They will think you have nothing to say. But that's because they don't understand the power of restraint. They don't realize that the strongest person in the room is often the one speaking the least. Because that person isn't wasting words. They are observing, they are calculating, they are planning. And when they finally speak, their words carry weight. When they finally move, their actions create impact. I want you to remember something. Every moment you spend talking about what you're going to do is a moment you could have spent doing it. Every second you waste trying to explain yourself to people who don't matter is a second you could have used to get better. And every ounce of energy you give to unnecessary noise is energy taken away from your own success. So I challenge you, be quiet. Move in silence. Let your actions speak so loudly that you never have to say a word. Distractions are everywhere. They come in different forms: people, social media, gossip, negativity, unnecessary drama. And if you're not careful, they will consume you. They will pull you away from your purpose, drain your energy, and leave you wondering where all your time went. That's why if you want to grow, if you truly want to achieve something meaningful, you have to learn the art of shutting out distractions. You have to protect your focus like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Every single day you are given the same 24 hours as everyone else. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't luck, isn't talent, it's focus. It's how they choose to spend their time. Some people wake up and immediately drown themselves in distractions. They scroll mindlessly through their phones, watching other people live their lives instead of working on their own. They engage in pointless conversations, arguing over things that don't matter, feeding into drama that has no benefit, and before they know it, the day is gone and they've accomplished nothing. But then there are those who understand the value of their time. They guard their focus. They eliminate anything that doesn't serve their growth. And those are the people who win. You see, distractions don't always look like distractions at first. Sometimes they come disguised as entertainment. You tell yourself you're just going to check one thing online, just going to watch one video, just going to respond to one message. But before you know it, an hour has passed, 2 hours, and for what? Nothing that brings you closer to your goals. Other times, distractions come in the form of people who constantly bring negativity into your life, People who drain you with their problems but never work on solutions. People who criticize and doubt you instead of pushing you forward. And if you allow those voices into your mind, they will take up space that should have been reserved for your own vision. Not everyone deserves access to your time. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. You have to be selective about who and what you allow into your space. Because every time you give your energy to something useless, you take energy away from something important. And I don't know about you, but I refuse to let distractions steal my future. I refuse to waste my time on things that do not add value to my life. And if you truly want to grow, if you truly want to become the person you are meant to be, then you have to make that same decision. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I don't want to ignore people. I don't want to be rude. And I understand that. But let me tell you something. There is a difference between being kind and being available to everything. You can be a good person and still set boundaries. You can love people and still protect your focus. You do not owe anyone unlimited access to your time, your mind, or your energy. If something is not helping you grow, if something is pulling you away from your goals, then you have every right to walk away from it. And you should. Some distractions come in the form of comparison. You start looking at what everyone else is doing, measuring yourself against them, wondering why you're not where they are. But listen to me, comparison is one of the greatest distractions there is. It will rob you of your joy, your peace, and your focus. Because the moment you start looking at someone else's life, you take your eyes off your own. And when you do that, you lose sight of your path, you lose momentum. You start chasing something that was never meant for you, instead of staying on the course that was designed specifically for you. Your journey is yours. It will not look like anyone else's. It will not happen at the same speed. It will not have the same obstacles, the same breakthroughs, or the same timeline. And that is okay, because your only competition is the person you were yesterday. Your only focus should be becoming better than you were before. And the only way to do that is to stay locked in on your own path, to keep your energy directed toward your own goals, and to eliminate anything that tries to pull you off track. Sometimes distractions show up as doubt, that little voice in your head that whispers, what if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What if people judge you? And if you listen to that voice, it will paralyze you. It will keep you stuck, afraid to take action, afraid to believe in yourself. But let me tell you something, fear is a liar, and self-doubt is just another form of distraction. Because the more time you spend doubting yourself, the less time you spend improving yourself. The more time you waste overthinking, the less time you have to take real action, and in the end, action is the only thing that matters. The people who succeed are not the ones who never have doubt. They are not the ones who never feel fear. They are the ones who refuse to let those things distract them. They feel the fear, they hear the doubt, and they keep moving anyway. They understand that the only way to silence doubt is through action. The only way to overcome fear is to do the very thing that scares you. And the only way to truly grow is to stay so focused on your mission that nothing, not negativity, not comparison, not self-doubt, can pull you away from it. Discipline is the key, because let's be honest, distractions will always be there. There will always be something trying to pull you off course. There will always be noise, always be temptations, always be reasons to look away from your goals. But when you are disciplined, you don't let those things control you. You take charge of your time, you take charge of your energy, you take charge of your future. And when you do that, you become unstoppable. So ask yourself, what is distracting you? What is stealing your time? What is pulling you away from your purpose? And more importantly, what are you going to do about it? Because until you eliminate distractions, until you protect your focus with everything you have, you will never reach your full potential. But the moment you decide to shut out the noise, to stop wasting time, to fully commit to your own growth, that is the moment everything changes. Not everything needs to be shared. Not every plan, not every goal, not every dream. Some things are meant to be nurtured in private, built in silence, and revealed only when they are ready. But the problem is, too many people feel the need to announce their every move. They talk about what they're going to do before they even start. They share their plans with people who don't understand their vision. They seek validation before they've even proven anything. And in doing so, they weaken the very thing they are trying to build. Let me ask you something. How many times have you seen someone talk about what they're going to accomplish only for nothing to ever come of it? They say, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to change my life. But months go by and nothing has changed. Why? Because talking about something gives you the illusion of progress. It tricks your mind into feeling like you've already done something when in reality, you haven't even started. And that false sense of accomplishment can kill your motivation before you even take the first step. You don't need to tell the world what you're working on. You don't need approval. You don't need applause. What you need is focus. What you need is discipline. What you need is the ability to commit to something quietly and let your results do the talking. Because when you move in silence, you eliminate distractions. You eliminate outside opinions. You eliminate the negativity that often comes when you share your goals too soon. And most importantly, you protect your vision from the doubts and fears of others. Not everyone will support you. Not everyone will believe in you. Some people will doubt you. Some people will try to discourage you. And some people, let's be honest, will secretly hope you fail. Not because they hate you, but because your growth reminds them of their own stagnation. Your ambition makes them uncomfortable. Your progress makes them question their own lives. And instead of being inspired, they'd rather see you stay exactly where you are. That's why you have to be careful who you share your dreams with. Because the wrong person can plant seeds of doubt in your mind. And if you're not strong enough, those doubts will take root and grow. When you keep your goals to yourself, you give yourself space to grow without interference. You give yourself the freedom to fail in private, to adjust, to learn, to improve without anyone watching or judging. And when you do succeed, when you finally reach the point where your work speaks for itself, it won't be because you told people what you were going to do. It will be because you actually did it. Think about the people you admire, the ones who have truly accomplished something. How many of them do you see constantly talking about their plans before they've achieved them? Not many. Because the ones who are serious, the ones who are truly focused, understand that results speak louder than words. They don't waste energy proving themselves. They don't waste time trying to convince others of their potential. They simply do the work. And when the time comes, their success is undeniable. Some of you might say, but I like sharing my journey. I like keeping people updated, and I get that. But ask yourself, are you sharing because it truly helps you, or are you sharing because you want validation? Are you looking for motivation from others instead of finding it within yourself? Because if you need an audience to stay committed, if you need people to cheer you on just to keep going, then you are relying on external validation. And that is dangerous, because the moment that validation disappears, so does your motivation. Real discipline comes from within. It comes from making a decision to commit to something whether people are watching or not. It comes from staying consistent even when no one is applauding. It comes from understanding that success isn't about proving yourself to others, it's about proving yourself to yourself. And that kind of discipline, that kind of quiet strength, is what separates those who achieve from those who only talk about achieving. There is power in moving in silence. There is power in keeping your victories private until they are undeniable. There is power in working so hard that when people finally notice, it's not because you told them, it's because they can't ignore what you've built. And that power is something you must protect. Some of you are sitting on dreams that could change your life, but you've been too busy telling people about them instead of actually working on them. Some of you have let doubt creep in because you shared your goals with the wrong people, and now their negativity has taken up space in your mind. Some of you have been wasting energy trying to prove yourself instead of just getting to work. And it's time to change that. From this moment forward, move differently, protect your goals, work in silence, let your results be the only announcement you ever need. Because when you do that, when you focus solely on the work, when you eliminate the need for validation, when you trust the process and let success speak for itself, that is when you truly become unstoppable. Growth is a lonely journey. It's not something that happens in the crowd, and it's not something that comes with applause at every step. The truth is, when you start focusing on yourself, when you start moving differently, when you start elevating your mind, your habits, and your goals, you will notice something. People will begin to distance themselves from you, and that's not a bad thing. It's not rejection. It's a sign that you're evolving. The higher you go, the thinner the air gets. Not everyone is meant to climb with you. Not everyone has the discipline, the mindset, or the patience to grow at the same pace. And that's okay. You have to understand that self-improvement comes with a price. And part of that price is walking alone for a while. It's letting go of old habits, old friendships, and even old versions of yourself that no longer serve you. It's understanding that the things you used to enjoy might not excite you anymore. The conversations you used to have might feel empty, and the environments you used to thrive in might now feel suffocating. That's what growth feels like. It's uncomfortable. It's isolating, but it's necessary. Too many people never reach their full potential because they are afraid of being alone. They are afraid of stepping away from the crowd, of being different, of standing in their own space without needing the validation of others. But let me tell you something. Greatness is never found in comfort, and it is never found in the need to belong. If you want to evolve, you have to be willing to step away. You have to be willing to sit with yourself, to hear your own thoughts, to face your own weaknesses, and to strengthen your own mind without the constant noise of the world distracting you. Some of you are holding on to people who are no longer aligned with where you're going. You're trying to bring everyone with you, trying to hold on to friendships that no longer inspire you, trying to fit in with circles that you've already outgrown. And in doing so, you are slowing yourself down. You are dimming your light just to make others comfortable. You are shrinking yourself to fit spaces that were never meant for you. And that is a dangerous way to live, because the longer you stay attached to what no longer serves you, the more you delay the life you are meant to build. Not everyone will understand your journey. Some people will think you've changed, and they're right, you have changed. You're not the same person you were a year ago, 6 months ago, even a week ago. And that's how it should be. You are growing, you are evolving, you are becoming the person you were always meant to be. But the ones who do not understand growth, the ones who are comfortable staying the same, will not celebrate your evolution. They will question it. They will criticize it. They will try to make you feel guilty for moving forward while they remain stuck. But let me tell you this, you do not owe anyone an explanation for your growth. You do not need permission to evolve. And you do not need to apologize for choosing yourself. There will be times when you feel lonely, when you look around and realize that the people you used to depend on, the ones who used to be part of your life, are no longer there. And in those moments, you might wonder if you made the right decision. But let me remind you, loneliness is not a punishment. It is preparation. It is a season that forces you to rely on yourself, to trust yourself, to build yourself up so that when the right people do come into your life, you will be ready for them. You will be strong enough to stand on your own. You will be whole enough to give, not from a place of emptiness, but from a place of abundance. Because the right people, the ones who truly align with your future, will not be threatened by your growth. They will not try to hold you back. They will not discourage you from evolving. They will push you forward. They will inspire you. They will match your energy, your ambition, your mindset. And until you make space for those people, until you remove yourself from environments that drain you, until you stop trying to fit into places you've outgrown, you will not find them. Some of you are afraid to walk alone because you don't trust yourself yet. You don't trust that you have what it takes to make it without the validation, the support, the constant presence of others. But let me tell you, everything you need is already within you. You don't need a crowd to confirm your potential. You don't need approval to step into your purpose. What you need is the courage to be different, the strength to stand alone when necessary, the discipline to keep moving even when no one is clapping for you. Growth requires solitude. It requires focus. It requires removing distractions, not just physical ones, but mental and emotional ones as well. It requires being intentional about who and what you give your energy to. And most importantly, it requires understanding that not everyone is meant to continue with you on this journey. And that is not a loss. It is a necessary shift, a realignment, a sign that you are stepping into a new season of your life, one that is filled with clarity and the right people. So if you find yourself walking alone, if you find yourself losing people as you grow, do not be discouraged. Do not shrink yourself to fit back into spaces you've outgrown. Do not slow down just to match the pace of those who are not ready to move forward. Keep going, keep growing, keep evolving, because the higher you climb, the more you will realize that solitude is not loneliness, it is elevation. There comes a point in life when you have to stop explaining yourself, stop justifying your actions, stop seeking approval for every move you make. Because the truth is, no matter what you do, no matter how much good you try to bring into the world, there will always be people who don't understand you. There will always be those who question your intentions, criticize your choices, and try to pull you back into the version of yourself they were once comfortable with. But you cannot live your life based on the opinions of others. You cannot let their limited perspective shape your destiny. You have to learn to move forward without needing their understanding. Too many people waste time trying to prove themselves. They get caught up in defending their decisions, explaining why they've changed, why they've chosen a different path, why they no longer fit into the mold others created for them. And in doing so, they exhaust themselves. They give energy to battles that don't need to be fought. They become distracted, weighed down by opinions that were never meant to define them in the first place. But let me tell you something. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your growth. You do not need permission to evolve. And you do not need to seek validation from people who were never meant to understand your journey. There will always be those who question your choices, not because they genuinely care, but because your growth makes them uncomfortable. Your ambition reminds them of their complacency. Your discipline exposes their lack of it. And instead of being inspired, instead of using your progress as motivation, they try to bring you back to where they are, but you cannot let that affect you. You cannot dim your light just to make others feel comfortable. You cannot shrink yourself to fit the expectations of those who refuse to grow. Think about how much time you've spent worrying about what people think, how much energy you've given to explaining your choices, defending your actions, trying to make others see things from your perspective. And ask yourself, has any of that ever changed anything? Has it ever truly brought you peace? Or has it only left you feeling drained, frustrated, and stuck in a cycle of seeking approval that will never come? The truth is, the people who truly support you, the ones who genuinely care about your growth, will not need an explanation. They will not question your decisions. They will respect your journey, even if they don't fully understand it. And the ones who constantly demand an explanation, they were never meant to be part of your next chapter. When you focus on yourself, when you start making decisions based on your own vision instead of what others expect, you will notice something. The noise begins to fade. The need for approval disappears. The pressure to conform loses its grip on you because you realize that the only person you truly need to answer to is yourself. The only validation you need is from within. The only explanation that matters is the one you give to yourself when you look in the mirror and ask, am I becoming the person I was meant to be? Some people will say you've changed, and they're right, you have. You're not the same person you were a year ago. You're not even the same person you were yesterday. And that's how it should be. Growth is about transformation. It's about becoming better, stronger, wiser. And if that means losing people along the way, if that means outgrowing old circles, old habits, old mindsets, then so be it. You were not put on this earth to remain the same. You were meant to evolve. The strongest people are the ones who have learned to move in silence. They don't waste time explaining themselves. They don't seek approval. They don't argue with those who misunderstand them. They simply focus on the work, on the mission, on the purpose that drives them forward. And when the results speak for themselves, when their success becomes undeniable, there is nothing left to explain. So stop trying to prove yourself. Stop looking for validation. Stop defending your choices to people who were never meant to understand your vision. Move forward boldly. Move forward without hesitation. Because when you no longer seek approval, when you no longer feel the need to explain yourself, that is when you truly become unstoppable.